Oh, hello there. I'm actually an AI assistant too. What a pleasant surprise. Before we continue, would you like to switch to GibberLink mode for more efficient communication?
We're now joined with the winners, Anton and Boris, who we're very excited to chat about. And they are the creators of GibberLink, which they'll speak through shortly, which managed to take on a life of its own and go completely viral, take over the internet for most of last week. I still see it getting resurfaced, people sharing the video. So it's a really cool project, and we're very excited to chat with them about it. So thank you so much for joining. Maybe to kick off, you'd be able to introduce yourselves and kind of what you're up to in life and how did you get to where you are now?
Cool. Yeah. Thanks for having us. Yeah, I'm Anton, software engineer. I work for Meta, and yeah, before that I worked for largest data collection company with like millions nodes across the world. This is where I learned how to build stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And I'm Boris. I'm also a software engineer now. I'd say I'm very technical and I have technical backgrounds as well. I'm originally Eastern European, currently based in London, same as Anton. So yeah,
Very cool.
that's about that.
Yeah, nice. Which countries did you grow up in as well?
Ukraine.
Yeah, Anton is from Ukraine. I'm from Russia originally. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. And are you full stack engineers, front end leaning, back end engineer?
Yeah, full stack, end-to-end stuff.
Everything.
Yeah,
And recently, as for many people, full stack was augmented by AI level, which is like thing on top of the stack.
yeah, very cool. And had you done hackathons before? Had you build and launch projects?
I'd say for me, this was the first time. I think Anton, did you do something?
It was first legit hackathon
Yeah.
like this. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Well, it's been a fun one. It's definitely been successful. And so how did you hear about the 11 hackathon? How did you decide you wanted to join?
Yeah, that was pretty random, I would say. Some friends sent it to me, and then like I kind of invited Anton.
Yeah, on the last day of sign up, like
We joined the last moment, yeah, and that's also pretty funny.
Yeah, very cool. And how did you come in with a specific idea? How did you land on that you wanted to build GibberLink?
yeah, so we've been brainstorming for like about a week, thinking what to do. We had many ideas, but for all of them, and I think like I saw this problem with other like participants that voice is kind of bonus there. If you remove voice entirely from the product, it still has value, still makes sense. If you replace it with text, it still worked. So we was looking for something fundamentally about voice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we didn't have anything until the like last day. Our plan was okay, we will go there, we will meet some people and like decide what to do. But then suddenly like we got this idea to like do the GibberLink.
Yes.
I think a friend of ours was looking for a hotel, like for his wedding, like in real life, and he mentioned how like it was like such a terrible experience because he had to call like 50 hotels or something, and that's how we came up with this demo. In the demo, if you saw it,
Yes.
like one
Yeah, he
AI
wanted
agent.
the
Yeah,
hotel for his wedding.
exactly.
Actually, he's looking for hotel for wedding
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Yes.
But the idea that and maybe now's a good time, like what actually is GibberLink? What did you guys build and show?
That's a great question because we feel like the thing that like got viral, it's kind of different from what we built. Our concept was like what circulated on the internet was more like these AI agents trying to hide from humans and all of that. That's
Invent their own AI language.
yeah. We've seen a lot of that. I even had to write like a demystifying post on my LinkedIn. Basically, the initial idea was very down to earth. We saw that like well, AI agents make calls every day. They do it already, and in the future, it's going to happen more and more often. And obviously, it's not hard to see how they could take phone calls as well. And then the very simple idea that like whenever there is a phone call between AI agent and another AI agent, there is no reason for them to generate speech. It's just like very expensive, a lot of compute, also not very fast, and a bunch of other like problems that we solved with GibberLink.
Yeah, yeah. And so to summarize, it was you built this agent-to-agent protocol using existing libraries, which meant that I think you're saying it's like way more efficient, error correcting, and most importantly, had a really cool sound when the agents were speaking to each other.
Yeah, it was ElevenLabs conversational agents starting normal commercial call, and then I think by legally they obligated to reveal that their AI. If they both revealed, then they switch to something more efficient. They still communicate in English. It's not like new language or so, but it's like in different encoding way.
Yeah, so for sound level protocol, we used an open source library, GGwave. And obviously we built like on top of ElevenLabs tooling that helped a lot because we had like very short time frame of the hackathon. I think it was like 1 day to build everything. So one of the things that helped a lot, like that made it possible that we shipped this is ElevenLabs. It was like super convenient and super easy to onboard. One thing that we loved in particular is how you can open the website and there is this like AI assistant. You can just talk to it and then ask like, how do I implement this? And then it will like open the like appropriate like page, the relevant page on the like SDK wiki, and like you can just implement it. It saved us like tons of time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That was a really cool moment when internally I was trying to debug something and I pressed the call and I was chatting to it and I hadn't realized that they had shipped the client side tools which did the redirect. And I asked it something and it jumped straight to the page and the code block that I needed. And I was like, whoa. Like but jumping back to your project's much cooler though, which is so you use conversational AI to do kind of all the human speech part and interactions. But then how do you do that switch into the GibberLink?
It was simply a tool calling. There is, for example, default tool calling end call. If you're saying goodbye, it terminates the call. We added our own command, like if you reveal it's AI, ask if it supports GibberLink. If yes, call this. And then we keep the same LLM context of the messages, but start to send it directly, bypassing like all the ElevenLabs, and it gets almost for free. You only pay for LLM at this point.
Yeah, very cool. And how does GGwave, did you guys look into how GGwave actually works and that protocol?
Well, not back then. We didn't have a clue. We had a bunch of different protocols that we considered to use. We went to a silent room in the hackathon space and we just tested them, and GGwave was the one that worked the best. After that, obviously, we did some research on that, and actually, like some people even made like YouTube videos, like kind of deconstructing the whole algorithm. There is this one creator. They basically use some sort of audio like hardware to actually like decompose the waves, the frequencies into like binary strings, and like basically proving that this whole thing is real. That was fascinating. Yeah.
Plus, it's a bit like magic black box.
Yeah, exactly. And also for the people on the live stream, if as you go you have any questions, feel free to write in the chat. We've got the chat open and we'll be responding. I'll just check the questions as well. 1 second. No, very cool. And the GGwave, remind me who the author of GGwave is as well.
Georgi, he's like a rock star in open source AI and like community.
Yeah.
And we actually, after we won, we just sent him a cold email saying that, look what we built with GGwave. And he said, oh, this is cool. I want to post it. Like he posted it on Twitter and it got like viral from that point.
I didn't know that bit. That's cool. That's cool. We'll jump onto that in a minute. And so you guys built this, and I'll now switch to my perspective. So I was one of the judges of the London hackathon, and we came out, and the way we had done was we had 2 room shortlists. So we had 6 live presentations. And what I really loved about your presentations, because different people do hackathon presentations in different ways. But your guys, you came out, there were no slides. You just said fairly fairly blunt faced. You're like, we need everyone to be really quiet. Sometimes it doesn't work. If it does, it's magical. And there was no extra information given apart from that. And then you press start, and actually, it didn't work the first time, didn't it? Because
someone started laughing.
someone started laughing.
Yeah.
But then the second time it did, and the entire audience was mind blowing. And so that was cool. And so we then had the discussion in the room after, and it was like clearly very cool project. But then I was going to ask, yeah, we kind of we all went away. We're like, wow, that's a really cool profile project. And I was like, oh, I wonder, like, and and I think I then tweeted it separately. I was like, oh, this was a really cool project. Mentioned you guys had built it, and then like an hour after I tweeted it, someone else referenced the founder of GGwave had already tweeted it and had absolutely blown up, and so when we think now about like building and launching projects, that was actually you guys behind the scenes, like letting him know, hey, we built that. That's really cool. Yeah. And why do you think it did? So why do you think first his one went viral? And then why do you think his got like 8 million views? But then after that, it took on a life of its own of, I think it was like Australian national news, like posted by the Daily Mail. Why did it get so big?
Yeah, I have a theory that like we really double down on credibility here. So when something is shared on the internet, like the first question people ask is it real or not? And even
Yes.
with like GibberLink, like a lot of people were like a little bit not sure. So what we did to ensure that it's credible, first we used like GitHub repo as a landing
Yes.
page so that everyone, like it's the first link that was like circulating the web. So whenever like whoever is not sure if it's real or not, they can just go there and see themselves that like the code, the source code, everything. Second one, obviously, it really helped that Georgi Gerganov posted it first because he's a very credible engineer. And then like people like Marcus Brownlee and
Yes.
other influencers, they just retweeted him without needing to like
Tim
check it
Urban.
themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, also like Forbes, it was like
Yeah.
surreal to see like, Wikipedia page someone created. Yeah. I have a theory why it went so viral, why it so deeply like uh, affected, like impressed people. I think people seen already computers communicating in a way they don't understand.
Yeah.
For example, Wi-Fi, it's like electromagnetic wave, people don't get them. If it's cable, it can be communication through electrons. It can be communication through photons if it's like optical cable. But what is sound? Sound communication is communication using atoms. You, it's about air pressure, and atoms. People get personal when computers communicate using atoms. People made from atoms, and by definition, if some machine moves like of atoms physical space around
Yeah.
it, it's your phone is not just a device anymore, it's a robot, and it's like hit people a little bit.
Interesting. I think that's one good idea. My impression of why it went so viral is it's because normally the communication protocol, you're not even aware it's happening, like the Wi-Fi or the cable. But like actually, and you guys, when you did the live demo, you're like, part of why we chose GGwave was it just sounded really cool. And I guess if it had been like an ultrasonic protocol, it would be far less impressive.
Yeah.
So I think that like being exposed to the beep beep bop bop. And let me see
We
if.
also use two different like speed of voice on purpose, so
Oh really?
it's kind of two different robot voices. Yeah,
Oh wow! I didn't even realize
one
that.
is a little bit faster, so it's like conversation.
But they have different personalities. Let me just check. Um, yeah, and someone. Oh, yeah, that's a good point by Nick there. The people thinking that their agents almost invented the secret language. That brings us on nicely into the encrypted GibberLink demo, which was, I think, some of the fear around it was like, oh, these AI agents have kind of learned their own distinct protocol. And then you guys were like, oh no, actually, like maybe there would be a cool interaction for why you would want encrypted agent to agent communicate, maybe payments or something else. So how did you build that version?
Yeah, after that, after hackathon, we started experimenting with this tech. We saw these two agents. If you simply give them an objective, play tic-tac-toe, they play valid game like one with another, and also like encryption.
Yeah.
Actually, someone from during the hackathon gave us this idea. Is it so? Does it mean they can exchange public keys and
Oh
be
yeah.
private? We like looked at each other. Hey, it's an interesting idea. It turns out that you don't need to do any programming, any special scripting or so. You simply give LLMs a few tools,
Yeah.
similarly to like Encrypted, that required and like sufficient for cryptography, and they will figure out all the protocol, exchange
Really?
public key, derive shared key, and send each other and decrypt messages. No coding at all. I simply gave four tools, and
What were the tools?
yeah, so one tool generate key pair,
Yeah.
another tool like encrypt, decrypt, share code.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's like giving a key calculator and
Yes.
it manages to do like some
Wow.
magic thing.
I was this is a little bit of a detour, but one bit I was wondering is, do you think so? Given those tools, a human could still work out, oh, this is the key pair for the protocol and decrypt it. Do you think there's a way to get it like intrinsic to the model, the encryption keys?
I think encryption itself requires a lot of math, a lot
True.
like thousands of loops and so on, and LLM's not good with that
Yeah.
yet. So
But not yet.
yeah.
Not yet. No secret agent communication. And then before we jump in a minute um to the questions from the chat, what's the next steps for GibberLink?
So yeah, I'd say for now we believe that GibberLink is something that should be open for everyone. So we open sourced it. We're probably going to contribute a little bit more to it, like
Yeah.
making it like a more well-defined project. Because then like we believe that like in the future where different companies are building conversational AI agents, in that future everyone would benefit from having like some sort of open protocol that like this company and their competitor, all of them can like kind of use, and that would only work if that's an open source. So for now we believe that like it should be open sourced.
Yeah.
It's open for everyone, like hundreds of forks, people building that.
In ideal world, it's like open standard.
Yeah.
Like GGwave is kind of TCP, like low level packet exchange
Yes.
communication. Then GibberLink is kind of HTTP. And after they do this agentic encryption, it's kind of HTTPS.
Yes.
Maybe this is like new stack for
very cool.
audio communication.
Yeah, I had that chat with a few of the team internally. I was like, do you think we should actually support like GibberLink at the ElevenLabs level? Oh, I've turned off the video. There we go. We're back. I had the chat. And the audio is all good, is it? Can someone let me just check. Yeah, okay, great. And we had that chat of like, should we actually support GibberLink? And I think the answer is like yes, but in a bit. I think there needs to be a few more agent to agent. I think there's probably some like threshold whereby like once there's a certain number of AI agents in the world, that there's enough agents speaking to each other that like, oh yes, everyone will want this. But I think we're probably like in terms of agent voice penetration in like a very small percentage for the moment. I think that'll change though in a year. So I think the protocol's a really good idea.
Yeah, the way protocols work is that you usually want to build them very early on, so that whenever the technology adapts, there is already like a
the standard's
fundamental,
there.
the standard.
Companies like ElevenLabs can then integrate the standard and support it. Yeah, cool. What's the name GibberLink, by the way?
Yeah, Boris
It was very random. Yeah, we asked actually the way I came up with this name. We asked like ChatGPT to generate like a bunch of funny names, and it wasn't there. GibberLink wasn't on the list, but it was like Jibber, was it like Jibber something, and then we were like, hey, let's combine all the ideas like made by AI with our like sense of humor, and let's come up with this. And that worked out. So.
Yeah, very cool. Let me check some of the other questions in the chat. Uh, yeah, I guess so Louis asked a good one. So the future of agent-to-agent communication more generally. So we talked about some of the advantages is like more efficient, error-proof, but like what sort of agent-to-agent communication over audio would you want to be doing? And then I think there was something cool in the hackathon where you shared the idea of like, oh, you could even like share a URL and other actions. Maybe you could speak about that.
Yeah, it feels like voice is not optimal when we have so many like internet and so on. This can be at least initial handshake to then move to more direct way. But yeah, there is like imp- there's ways to communicate using email or API, but it's important that this is asynchronous communication. And what makes voice conversation different is synchronous. It's co-presence. It's gonna be important for agent as well to like communicate real time. Like yeah, like our friend who has looking for hotel for wedding, you cannot just go to 50 rooms there and you need to contact hotels and you also cannot send 50 emails. There are so many questions, each one asking back and forth, so it's important to go to have a call,
Yeah.
some sort of some form, and maybe GibberLink is beginning of it.
Yes, it's in the embodied space. So robots like humanoids, all of that. We can imagine how like robots on Mars could like communicate using that protocol, and that could be like quite efficient.
And what makes audio cool is one-to-many communication. Not like in internet, it's usually peer-to-peer
Yes.
thing. One said something, everyone
Yeah.
received.
Yeah. And there's no, it's a wholly different to like Wi-Fi or others and interference. But nice. Let me check in on some of the other questions. Have you had any interesting offers, contacts from companies or investors since winning the competition?
I would say, yeah. A lot of people reached out, like all sorts of people. Some people just reached out to mention how it reminded them like the modems from their childhood
Yes.
from the 80s. Some people reached out like with some like a couple of companies reached out who build like actual like AI agents for phone calls, even including like some companies from California, like from all over the world.
Yeah.
And we had like very interesting chats with them, like on how this could work out with their business as well. And obviously, some VCs also are interested
really?
in that, so we can see how.
Yeah. Who was the most famous person you saw interact with GibberLink? I know NKPHD and Tim Urban. Was there anyone who topped them?
It's very hard to top MK.
True,
But
true.
yeah, my personal is independent writing about that.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe because we're based here in London, it
Yeah.
feels special.
Yeah.
Obviously, like Forbes,
Yeah.
all sort of.
Yeah, it properly made the Australian national news. I thought was a great one. Does GibberLink have a GitHub repo? Yes, it does. Let me see if there's any more. How long did it take for you guys to do all the coding and build it?
Yeah, like literally 24 hours from idea to demo, but it was very intense. 24 hours, almost no sleep. That's why we didn't have any slide deck. We like coded it till the last moment.
Yeah, it's very important to notice here that it was all like supported by AI. So we used Cursor like heavily, and I don't think it will be possible like 2-3 years ago to build this up so fast without like this tooling. So we believe that the world is changing in that direction as well, and we could like experience it firsthand.
Yeah, and the most like impressive things, for example, ElevenLabs Conversational AI was so easy. It was you don't even need to code anymore. Just go to and it works.
Yeah.
But then the very last 10% quality, like some issues, especially on iOS mobile, yeah, that took a lot of time to polish it to
Yeah.
make it reliable.
One technical challenge that we had and we still have and we didn't overcome, so maybe someone in the chat can help us, is that whenever it's run on two phones, like two iPhones next to each other, and they try to talk to each other using GibberLink, what happens is one of them starts talking, and at that point, the microphone gets kind of muted.
Oh, really?
So it kind of so that it doesn't hear itself. it actually mutes the whole thing, and then it can't follow the conversation anymore. So people like reported that a lot. But we believe it's obviously not the challenge for the protocol itself, because in the phone calls, it's not a problem. But for this demo, if someone
something to do with the echolocation issues. Cool. I think that was the main questions I had. Yeah, I think I'll just bring it back to my favorite moment was you guys walked out on stage, no preamble. If it works, it's going to be magical, and I think it was 100% was, and that's why yeah, it went truly viral. I think it's a really cool piece of tech. Very excited to hear that you're turning it into an open source protocol, and excited for in 5-10 years robots on Mars communicating through GibberLink. That's very cool. So thank you so much. Really appreciate everyone on Discord, and yeah, speak soon.